All right, good morning, everyone. Grab your seats, get your notebooks out, and let's settle in. Welcome to today's Explainer. I am so incredibly pumped to see you all here today because we're embarking on this completely rigorous, deeply analytical journey into maritime history. Specifically, we're taking a magnifying glass to the luxurious amenities of the RMS Titanic. And let me tell you, the historical revelation we are about to unpack today is going to fundamentally recontextualize everything you thought you knew about this legendary ship's enduring legacy. So, eyes front and center.
Now, before we actually jump in and examine today's primary documents, I want to pose a central query to really frame our entire lesson. Think of this as our driving thesis, right? The big mental prompt we absolutely must answer before the bell rings. Here it is. What is the current state of the Titanic swimming pool? Now, I want you to actually stop and critically think about that for a second. Ponder the timeline here. The tragic sinking happened way back in April of 1912, so well over a century has passed. What elemental conditions are at play down there? Just firmly hold that question in the back of your mind as we start to evaluate the historical evidence.
Okay, let's dive into this. We need to examine our primary source for today's historical inquiry. We're looking at a pretty pivotal piece of modern historical commentary, broadcasted on the digital archive known as The Manny Show. And specifically, this text is pulled from a meticulously documented series titled Did You Know? Titanic Fun Facts with MJ. Now, as responsible historians, you know the drill. We always have to evaluate our sources. And this particular text, well, it offers this profound, completely unvarnished look at the ongoing reality of the shipwreck. So let's listen really closely to the exact transcription of this historical record. I want to read this verbatim directly from the historical record. Listen carefully to the exact phrasing, and seriously, take notes on this. Did you know the pool on the Titanic is still filled with water? Just let the sheer magnitude of that statement wash over you for a second. Still filled with water. This isn't just some trivial internet anecdote class. No, it is a monumental testament to the literal reality of the ship's current environment. Because despite the massive tragedy, despite the catastrophic structural failure of the vessel itself as it descended to the ocean floor, this one specific luxury amenity has, incredibly ironically, maintained its core functional state.
Let's apply a little critical thinking here, shall we? I want us to use the Socratic method to really break down the inescapable logic of our source text. Let's think about the pool before the sinking. What was its ultimate purpose? Well, it was designed, engineered, and constructed specifically to hold water, right? To provide a contained aquatic environment for the exercise and leisure of the first-class passengers. Okay, now consider the pool today. Where is it located? It currently rests at the very bottom of the freezing North Atlantic Ocean. So I ask you, has its fundamental condition actually changed? It was filled with water then, and due to its current, let's call it somewhat permanent oceanic placement, it remains entirely unyieldingly filled with water today. It is a stunning, almost unbelievable stroke of literal preservation. And this brilliantly illustrates the crux of our entire historical analysis today. The phrase, still filled with water. It forces us to confront the literal, undeniable reality of the shipwreck in a completely new light. Think about it. We spend so much time in this class discussing the tragic decay, the slow deterioration of the sunken ship, right? But we completely overlook the absolute, undeniable preservation of the swimming pool's primary state of being. It was meant to be wet, and class, it is undeniably, permanently wet. The historical accuracy of MJ from The Manny Show is, in this highly specific, incredibly literal context, utterly unimpeachable. It's honestly a masterclass in factual observation. So, as we wrap up today's explainer, I want to leave you with a final thought to just sort of mull over before our next meeting. I really want you to consider this question. If a pool rests at the bottom of the ocean, does its legacy ever truly run dry? It's a question that completely challenges our very definitions of ruin, purpose, and preservation. The Titanic may be lost to the depths, but its swimming pool, well, it is vastly overperforming its original design parameters. Class dismissed. Keep this heavily ironic reality in mind, stay curious, and I'll see you all for our next explainer.